Am I live? Yes, I'm live. Okay, great. Red light's on. I have a red light. I'm gonna wait here for a sec. Wait right here for a sec. Normally I don't do broadcasts other than Monday on this topic. Um, I hear a slight reverberation. I don't know if that is something that you hear on that end, but it's here on this end. Is there reverberation? Ch, ch, ch. Or is that just my monitor? My headphones being too close to the microphone. There we go. Sounds fine? Cool. Hey, Lisa. How are you today? How are you today? Hey, Chad. How are you today? How are y'all today? Smoke some weed. Hit the like button. Yeah. All that good shit. I'm set up now to broadcast my whole goddamn life, so I'm a lot quieter when my camera isn't showing. Okay, let me fix that. So like right here I'm quieter. Am I quieter in this setting? Or quieter here? I mean, it's going to be in the settings and I will get it. Okay, so yeah, quieter there. So let me see if I can fix that real quick. I've got a compressor on there and a limiter. So let me remember that I did that. Is that different? Is that more of the same? Camera 1, camera 2. Camera 1, camera 2. Camera 1, camera 2. Wayne's World. Consistent everywhere for when you're just full screen sharing screen. Okay. What the hell? What the hell, damn guy? Camera 2's quieter. So let me just copy the settings from this one. Filters. Oh, they're all the same. I do not understand. I do not understand. We're gonna watch Liz's short video. It came up on my BuzzFeed or whatever, and it says, "Hey, SPT, I'm back to expose Scientology." There's only, let's see, I don't know how many. Oh no, there's a bunch. Yeah, but there were more videos. I think she went back and curated. This is great. I thought it was great, but we're gonna look in. We're gonna do a what you call it, a reaction video. So she says a lot of really important things. Um, she talks about therapy. But fuck me. Let's just watch her and see what she has to say, and we'll go as we go along. Hey, Nick. Welcome, everybody. As you can see, all of my you want to help a brother out stuff is like everywhere now. So, if you want to help a brother out, there you go. All right.
What's up? Long time no see, everybody. Hey, it's me, Liz Gale. And if you're wondering who the heck is Liz Gale, well, hi, it's me.
All right. It's Liz Gale. Now, I don't I don't know Liz Gale. I don't know where she worked. Third generation Scientologist. Um, but I have seen a clip that was being spread around the internet. of her going ape shit on Leah Remini. And honestly, this kind of stuff, I don't I got no ill will towards any of the victims of Scientology. We She makes some really good points in the video that are going to explain some of this kind of behavior when you leave. You know, it's difficult to explain. I think she did a good job of it, but the video that I'm talking about is Liz Gale on what's her name? Leah Remini. Remini. Where is it? Oh yeah, Leah Remini. So this is True Clear Media, which is a channel that I've watched some of their videos and I like their stuff too. And they're just documenting this, but this is something that I have. I'm pretty sure she's not proud of this. I don't know, maybe she is, but you can get triggered as hell being part of this community, this strange world of ex-Scientologists. So this is the video, 1 minute video that was put together by True Clear Media. Board member, and it says board member of SPTV Foundation. So this is going to be big contrast, and positive in a positive direction.
Hey, Leah. Hey, Leah Remini. Girl, lady, sandwiched in between these hateful, demeaning, disgusting tweets.
She don't look too happy right
Are
there.
reposts of Leah.
All right, so fine. That's really all I
don't know if
care.
you figured this out yet, Leah, but your image and likeness is being used for something that a lot of the community doesn't want. So I don't
Up
know
in the top, it said Team Aaron Smith Levin.
this respectfully, but like, get your shit in line, Leah.
Get your shit in line, Leah. All right. So that's a different Liz. People change. She I was told she disappeared after that. See, I don't go and search for SBTV stuff. I do a lot of what she is talking about in this video, which is I've been told is a healthier way to deal with things. So let's keep going. We're only 8 seconds in. I just wanted to preface that with that. I don't know how it was in 2024. Is what the video states from True Clear Media. So I feel like she makes some really good points in this video, and as a third generation Scientologist, which I am not, she's really got the presentation style down. Like, Scientologists are actors, musicians, creative people, a lot of those, and then the people who can't find pockets of money buried around Hollywood or Florida or New York or wherever. There's famous people or rich people or pharmaceutical people or whatever. They get stuck with the qual jobs and the auditor jobs and all that stuff. But let's continue.
Liz Gale, your friendly third generation ex-Scientologist. And yeah, there's more to me than that, but that's kind of my tagline.
Living true, living free.
Now that's AI music. Definitely AI music.
Brimming with creativity.
I fucking love this. Liz Gale, author, artist, activist. Redefinition. It's something in Scientology they call getting out of non-existence. Letting people know who you are, what you are, and that you are. So, given that she's a third generation Scientologist, this looks really good. I mean, it's like healthy, she got out, uh, and she's finding a better way to define herself. And man, I'm really excited. I'm excited enough to do a broadcast on Tuesday about it, because this is, to me, a good first step, good first steps for the community to, develop themselves after Scientology. But at the same time, because some of what you'll hear she says, there there's an immense feeling of terror when you start to talk about Scientology, and a paranoia that exists that rivals none that I've ever experienced. So there's plenty of opportunity to get scared, triggered, fearful, isolated, depressed, all kinds of bad things. And this is why I advocate for everyone who was involved in not just Scientology, but any coercive group, cult, family situation, any kind of close, you could call it familial, because a cult is like a family. So anyone who has experienced that, to go to therapy. And you can, she says, get therapy if you need it. I would go even further and say, if you've been in these groups, you need to be in therapy probably for a while. You really, I mean, you can't really lose much by going. There's a lot to unpack. It's super dense, like a neutron star. All right, let's keep going.
Hey, I missed you. It has been a while. 2.5 months since I made my last YouTube content. I want to thank you for holding space for me here on SPTV while I took a much needed break.
She took a much needed break. Fucking awesome. Too many people don't.
As I'm sure many of you can imagine,
Apostate Alex says A plus A, or A equals A equals A, but in a better way. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
navigating the ex-Scientology activism space community can be very messy and very exhausting. For many of us content creators who actually lived through Scientology, we were raised that way and didn't have any other identity other than being a Scientologist for large portions of our life. Talking about Scientology, exposing whistleblowing isn't the simplest thing. It can be really challenging and triggering.
Now, I'm wondering if she's using AI to cut, or she used it to cut this clip. I'm not sure. But there are cuts, and it's like key points, which is fine. It's good, actually. It makes the video 17 minutes long, which these days is like, asking someone to go watch Dr. Zhivago.
Triggering. So I want to say thank you for being patient with me, being understanding. So many of you were so kind and encouraging when I said that I needed to take a break, and I really appreciate that. And in the past few months, many of you have messaged me and emailed me to...
That is what I thought when I saw that video. I'm like, oh, she need to take a break. Anyways.
check in, telling me you miss me, and honestly, that makes my day. And it reminds me of the reason that I wanted to be in this community in the first place. So in today's video, I want to share why I took a break, remind you why I started my activism journey in the first place, and give you some exciting updates on what's next. So I hope you'll hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks for sticking around. The last 2 months have been a mix of personal challenges, downtime, healing, and a lot of celebration. In my personal life, there were several milestones happening this spring and summer, and I felt like they needed my full attention. And the dynamic in our home and in our family is changing. As many of you know, my oldest just graduated from high school in June, and he happened to walk on the same day that my husband, his dad, turned 40. That was on a Friday.
That's cool.
We threw a huge barbecue that weekend. We had some big decisions, big plans that we needed to put into play about college, and I am so proud to announce that my son will be attending university in the fall and moving into the dorms. He is so excited. As many of you know, he played basketball all through high school, and he has chosen not to pursue that and to move on to other fields of study and areas of development, and I'm so excited for him. Our youngest son also turned 10 this summer.
Kids.
And I don't know the last time that you had a 10-year-old home for summer break in your house, but it
Love
is
it.
a constant whirlwind of snacks and sports. And we do a lot of swimming, mostly just trying to keep busy and have as much fun as possible. Because of the large age difference
Live your
between our
life.
two children, 8 years, and the oldest moving out this fall, which is hard to say, I'm not going to lie. Thank goodness, though, the university he's going to is only 45 minutes away, so he will be home for laundry and some meals and some hugs, thank goodness. Because of that age difference between my two boys, it has always been a big priority for me to facilitate bonding between them. So we've done some pretty exciting things recently. We went on a hot air balloon ride, did some go-kart racing.
Wow.
Summers in the past for us have looked like creek days and going to the park, and I really wanted to have the time and the ability to be present to do that as much as possible this kind of last year that he's home. Stop, I'm gonna cry. I've also been focusing on mental health and refilling my cup over this break. I went through it this spring, really dealing with some trauma issues and some grief. I've been able to get back into therapy, get myself on a path that I feel really good about.
Fuck yeah.
And I've been trying to take the time to recharge my creative batteries. Because at the end of the day, that's my biggest asset that I bring to the ex-Scientology community and the activism space, and something I want to be doing a lot more of in the future.
Hell yeah.
This break from YouTube has really given me a chance to reflect on what's important to me and why I got into this activism space in the first place.
Activism.
For those of you who are new here, I was born a third-generation Scientologist. That means that my grandma got my family into Scientology back in the 50s when it first started. My mother was raised entirely as a Scientologist and in turn raised her children, my brother and I, as Scientologists.
Okay.
I grew up in the public sphere of Scientology, meaning my parents were paying members. They contributed a lot of money to the organization for fundraisers, not to mention for private Scientology education for my brother and I at expensive boarding schools, lots and lots of auditing services, Scientology, pay-as-you-go processing, etc. My older brother was a poster child for Scientology and its education system. He was one of the youngest and first alumni from the Delphian Academy, the Delphian, which is a boarding school in Oregon.
Terrible.
Because he graduated high school at 14 and was accepted to MIT at 15, he was really a story of what Scientology education could do, how it could fast-track children to top colleges. But by 19 years old, my brother had unalived himself in a very public way on L. Ron Hubbard's birthday, which started a whole media thing and scandal, and it rocked my world in a way that has never really been undone. I spent a lot of time trying to understand what happened to my brother, what happened to me, and why so many other second and third generation Scientologists, my peer set, weren't doing well. Whether lost to unaliving, to addiction, we're a vulnerable group.
Yeah.
I say that with love and empathy. The traumas and the abuse that children growing up in Scientology, whether they're growing up in the cadet organization or as a public paying Scientologist, there are common threads. And I spent a lot of time trying to understand what those were so that I could verbalize them, so I could stop them from happening. I can't say that that journey is over, but I will say that I put a lot of time and energy into dedicating myself to that. Like my brother, I also graduated high school at 14 years old, but instead of going to a top university, I went to community college. I got my 2-year degree in early childhood education and dedicated about 10, 12 years of my life to working with young children. I eventually went on and got my bachelor's in child and family studies,
This is
keeping
not
that
the video I
specialization
remember
in early
watching,
childhood education.
but
I
I could
found
be
a
wrong.
passion in advocating and understanding children from birth to 5 years old. The amount of development that a human does just blows my mind.
Yeah.
A baby goes from like, you can't even lift your own neck up to
I feel the same
talking in
way
full
about,
sentences, walking, running, 5 years old. You could do some bathing of yourself.
just on a personal note, and stuff related to Scientology, the divorce separated my, in a very violent, high conflict way, me from my son. Hey, Lydia. Time difference? Yeah, well, right now I'm just. If you watch yesterday's broadcast, there's new cruelty going on. I am broadcasting everything. I'm crossing the streams. I got 5 channels, and yeah, I'm broadcasting. Like if I'm broadcasting on my radio channel or my publishing channel, the radio station I will post on this channel as well. Will be broadcasting, but it'll say at Delta Gold Media, or if it's games, it'll be at Crow Bennett, or if it's music, it'll be at Lafleurbros, etc. So there's gonna be more broadcasting going on. I told everybody yesterday. You might want to click the notification button off if you know if you don't want to see that activity. Otherwise, if you want to hang out and see the activity and see what all I do, then all the more the merrier. Okay, so we're halfway through. I don't know if she recut the video. It says this was 19 hours ago. That seems like the soonest one. I paused this on a rather unflattering
Dressing yourself. Some 5-year-olds speak multiple languages. It is fascinating to me. That also helped me understand the importance of that time period, that the things that happen to a human during those developmental times can affect them for their
the
whole
rest
life.
of their life. Yep.
Art and writing have always been outlets for my expression and my passions. I started a book series called Confessions of an Ex-Scientologist. The first one,
Great artwork.
Confessions of an Ex-Scientologist Pothead, is actually available on Amazon. Go ahead and buy it if you want. I'm really proud of it. And before you give me crap about the pothead thing, I'll tell you that if Scientology was coming after me, insulting me as they have in the past, they try to dismiss me as, a pothead, a hippie, a dumb, whatever, weed girl. Well, like
Weed
many
girl.
things Scientology
I think
doesn't
she wanted to say
understand, I'm an
bitch
Oregon girl. Recreational cannabis is legal in Oregon. We have an amazing hemp farming program, as well as a lot of freedoms for the everyday gardener. And while I sensationalize the title, I've actually spent some time in hemp activism as well. I truly believe that cannabis is a healing plant to our bodies, to the earth, and in so many ways.
Smoke weed.
My book is like me, conversational, fast-paced, fun. The goal is to make people think and laugh and be entertained while learning the complexities of Scientology. And I'm proud to say it hasn't even been a year since release. I've sold over 1,000 copies, has over 100 reviews on Amazon, and almost 5 stars. And as the first in the series, it really helped me get my feet wet and jump into the
Betsy.
self-publishing author world. And
Welcome.
I've received so many messages from people who've read my book and say that it's helped them with their journey. And those messages of support really keep me going, for real.
Quick note on that. Those messages from that book, I haven't read it, but just based on what she said and knowing Scientology, there's a lot that people can learn from somebody who has stepped out of that. There's a lot you can learn from people who leave these groups. You learn so much in them, and you're taught to be a certain way. At a certain point, when you leave, if you're fully committed, whether it's your family or it's your own self-determinism, if you want to call it that, it is an earth-shattering event. So from that point forward, it's like life after. So the whole aftermath thing is always going to be applicable, and wisdom from the experience of all of that is it's very valuable. So I'm not surprised at all that she gets good reviews and that people are, uh, saying this has helped me with some of my shit. I get that all the time, and I also get, hey, you should write a book. But oh, hey, Brian, how you doing, bud? Um, Brian says her book is a very quick read. Liz's writing style is very conversational. Um, all those hellos to Alex are an inside joke. Okay, I'm not seeing the hellos to Alex. So, um, to me, this is all really positive shit. She took a break. She published some stuff. Now I'll show you an example of some things that I've published that I'm not proud of. Okay, this shit happened to me too. I had to take multiple breaks. Um, and it's probably a good percentage of everything that is in the Chronicles playlist, which is a bit of a misnomer. Um, there's stuff in here where I am triggered as fuck. I did this interview, Come Get Some Extra Scientology, Part 1 and 2, after I went to Clearwater. Um, I was super triggered. And I was upset. Say things to people, say things directed at people. One of the ones that I used to be embarrassed about was the freak show. And I've shown that on this channel enough times. But I'm just saying that as you go, as I came out and started talking about stuff, there were certain things and other people in the community that, I would direct comments towards. And it was just a reactive thing. I'd see something and I'd just make a video about it. And it wasn't, I didn't think too much about it. I let the emotion overtake me. This is not something that I would consider super uncommon at all.
Combining all that, putting it all together, I think you can understand where my passion lies. One of my biggest missions in this anti-Scientology activism space is to raise awareness about children's experience in Scientology. Whether it's forced interrogation, security checks, forced confession, heavy manual labor, how Scientology affects child development. And I'm not even talking about the obviously abusive practices. I'm talking about the culture and the everyday practices of Scientology and the expectations that they put on children. Now, don't get me wrong. The crimes that were committed against children, of course, I will always scream to the rooftops about those. But when really examining what I can bring, what me, little Liz Gale, can bring to this community space is not a firsthand account of a Sea Org upbringing. That's not my life. I can bring a firsthand account of when you use the best tools in Scientology, the best education, the best devotion of parents, generations into it.
This is deep.
It still doesn't work.
Oh, wow.
And is damaging to the people who have to live through it. It's in this headspace and heart space that I created the receipt, the list of children that Scientology failed. As of now, the list is over 200 names long of people who were born or raised in Scientology who have now spoken out against it, as well as names of people who didn't make it out alive, like my brother. Taking that list down to Los Angeles and unrolling it in front of the Celebrity
Oh,
Center
this is the
was one of the
fucking
most
one.
moving moments of my
This is
adult.
the one. I got the wrong one. Okay, trust your gut. This is the one that I wanted to show. Damn it. Okay, trust your gut. This is the video I had intended to show you, and I clicked the wrong one. And I got halfway through it before. I am a big cannabis advocate as well. Helps with the PTSD. So, and also doesn't help so much with short-term memory. So, my bad.
Hello, SPTV and fellow anti-Scientology activists. It's me, Liz Gale. Welcome to my channel. Today, we are going to talk about trusting your instincts and following your gut when navigating the ex-Scientology community.
Living true, living free.
Don't like the AI music.
Brimming with creativity.
Love this.
We all know that the anti-Scientology, ex-Scientology activism community space is messy. It can be tricky to navigate. I've joked in the past that it's like the Wild West out here because you have YouTube, which is, just a wild place to begin with. And then you throw in a bunch of ex-cult members, cult survivors. Then you pepper in a bunch of traumatic stories and triggers, and you just kind of see how it ends up. Not to mention, we are a notoriously paranoid group of folks, and for good reason. Scientology has
You goddamn right, for good reason. We are notoriously paranoid, and I was paranoid before all that. I relate to you on that. Paranoid doesn't even really capture the essence, but words don't really capture the concepts. A word is a way to describe a concept or an idea. What the paranoia is something so solid and deep and ingrained for me. Not just because of Scientology, but because of being in a domestically challenged home, whatever they used to call it.
internal departments whose entire job is to confuse, infiltrate, distract, and upset any type of ex or anti-activism community. The details of all of that are a topic for another day, but it's not.
Yeah, because you could really go into a lot of detail about all that. What she's, I shouldn't have to explain it, but you got all of these people who are extremely traumatized. You got when they, and if they leave and talk about it, then you've got ex-Scientologists who, even without any direction, if you're anywhere close to a Scientologist and they know that you're an SP, they'll think about and perhaps even execute things to make your life miserable. If you've ever seen the movie Amelie, think of Amelie as like in a because Amelie was doing things for good. Imagine her doing it for bad. If you've seen the movie, right? If you haven't, go check it out. It's a great film. It's all French, though. You got to watch subtitles.
Hyperbole to say that Scientology spends a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of effort infiltrating groups by using spies, by using campaigns, and by using paid bad actors. Additionally, like true crime, cult watching has become mainstream. And as its popularity increases, so does the audience. More and more people want to get involved and make their own content, comment and react to content being made. It's like a lot of layers all being put together. Navigating this community for me is a matter of really life or death. Who we count on, who's there for us, who we confide in, all of these things make a major impact on us as content creators, but also us as people and as survivors. And so how do we do it? How are we supposed to walk into this like pit of insanity and get out unscathed? Well, first of all, I feel like that's an unrealistic expectation. I don't think anybody jumped into this volcano pit of activism thinking they weren't going to get hurt. In fact, most
Morning,
of
Ann.
us know it's dangerous here. And I don't necessarily mean physically dangerous, I mean emotionally dangerous, socially dangerous, and
So I had several friends who I talked to about in 2013, 2014 about, hey, I'm going to talk about this, and they're like, "Oh man, that's scary, dangerous shit. Scientology does bad." I'm like, "Yes, I fucking know. I was one." So I was discouraged from doing it by a few people because of this emotional danger. My attorney also, during the divorce, said stop broadcasting. So early on, and that was early on in the split. So I guess I became accustomed quickly to publishing something, getting really upset about it because it was very difficult and like a purge type of thing, and then just shutting it down. So breaks, very good.
can be very dangerous for our mental health. And so, what the hell are we supposed to do?
I love this. Trust your instinct.
Trusting your gut means listening to your intuition. It's also about trusting yourself enough to act upon the orange and red flags that you see. If someone proves themselves to be untrustworthy, it would behoove you to act accordingly with that person.
It
And
would
being
behoove
untrustworthy
you.
in the ex-Scientology community is like a huge no-no. As far as I'm concerned, the number one trait that I look for when deciding whether I'm going to trust someone is their level of honesty. It can be very easy for content creators in particular.
All right, so this is the one. This is the video. So when I was contacted, oh, I'm sorry, Lydia, the receipt. That's terrible. Brian found the anti-Scientology space when he started watching true crime stuff on YouTube. So that's an interesting little parallel correlated thing. People who watch that stuff can, find this stuff very interesting. But in 2017, early 2017, I was contacted by Aaron Smith Levin to do an interview. I told Aaron, I am not and he had a huge channel, huge following, huge Facebook group. And I was like, look, I want to get the message out to everybody for sure. But I'm not doing this for money because it violates my principles, basically. Like this information should be freely distributed. Everybody should know what the fuck is going on in behind the walls of the Church of Scientology, and even outside the walls, because they operate independently, sometimes completely separated through corporations and stuff, in order to give people a hard time and hassle people like me and Liz and Aaron Smith Levin and everybody a hard time, make our lives as miserable as possible. And there are ways they can do that that aren't traceable. Okay, like they have had to dial back on the brute force because so much can be traced now, surveillance, DNA, crimes and stuff that they used to commit, murder and whatnot, or silencing. Let's just call it silencing. That don't work as well anymore for them. They have to do it in a way that is like fair game has to be done. If it's going to be done correctly, fair game needs to be done in a way that it looks and feels and is natural. It's very unnatural. If you think of it like an ant farm, or any little pet area where it's a contained area, that's an environment. Now you can put things in the environment that are naturally occurring. You put a rock in an ant farm, and now they have to move around the rock. So that's conceptually what fair game can be. It always is. It isn't always, but it can be very much. Environmental controls. I do a whole video on environmental controls. It's 3 hours long. It's in the ding section. But let's see. Brian says, yeah, it was the Danny Masterson trial. I write about it in the introduction to my COS poetry collection. Yeah, I wrote a book too. Everybody, I haven't written a fucking book. You know, it's so intimidating to me. And I've been asked for years to write a book. I just want someone to write it for me. I'm too lazy. I write songs. I like songs. I like writing those. Hey Marcus, you were live and I was here. Never happens anymore. Hope you're doing well. Who is that? Barb. Barb tries. Hey, hey. All right. I'm glad I caught you. Let's continue. We're 3.5 minutes in out of 14. I may draw some stuff too.
Particular to kind of twist their stories or make things seem a particular way for clicks or views. And I really am careful not to align myself with individuals that do that because
I forgot. I got off track. So when Aaron asked me to do the interview, I said, sure, man, I'll do the interview. But do not monetize it. If you monetize it, I will ask you to remove it. Because at that time, there was a tremendous amount of promotion going on, marketing with the Aftermath, not the Foundation, Leah Remini's The Aftermath on A&E. And I didn't really want to be on the Aftermath, and I didn't really want to like attach myself to the Aftermath. And he agreed. He said, yeah, absolutely. I'm not, I don't do this for money either. And I was like, okay, cool. So we did it. And then Travis, my brother, did his interview. And it took a while, but yeah, the thing is that, that video needs to be out there, regardless of how it was cut. There's some important information that people need to know. Again, with the activism, letting people know what the hell is going on behind the doors and out in the public. So I will not ask him to remove it. However, I will say publicly that the terms of agreement for doing that interview with Aaron Smith Levin, it was more of a handshake agreement. There was nothing paper, but it was not. If his channel is monetized, then he did not. Aaron Smith Levin did not keep his word to me. All right. So when she's talking about trust your instincts, back then, I had a lot of instinctual shit going on. I had daddy instincts going on, I had survival instincts going on, and now I gotta suss out. My instinct told me that it was the right thing to do, and the timing was right. Because I'd already been publishing videos. I had less than, 100 subscribers. And, but they were steadily getting views because it was a little more difficult to find the plethora that exists now, which you may disagree that there's a plethora of ex-Scientologists talking about it, but it was even harder to find. So whatever I published, people would watch, and Aaron was looking for these kinds of things, and he found a channel. That's why he asked to interview me. all that to say some of what Liz talks about.
Because that's my personal value and makes me uncomfortable. Everybody has a right to do whatever they want, but when we're talking about our instincts and we're talking about our gut, we have to follow what feels right for us individually. And so for me, if there's evidence of lying or some sort of misrepresentation of the truth, especially to benefit a particular person or to paint a person in a particular way, for me, huge red flag. And it's not that I don't like the person that does that. It's that that's a sign that they have ulterior motives. There have been many times.
That's a great point to bring up. Liking and it has nothing to do with it. It's just, what are the motives? What are you trying to do? And it may seem like a little thing, and it is. It's just one video out of however many Aaron's done. But the agreement on that video was that it wasn't going to be for money or monetization. Also, after we did the video, one of the first messages I received from Aaron was, "How many subscribers did you get out of that?" And the way he said it tipped off my instincts. Let's listen to more Liz Gale.
In this journey where I have trusted my instinct and it's turned out right. And so I feel like I have to start this whole thing off by just reminding you guys how important it is to trust your instincts. After an environment where critical thinking was discouraged, where we couldn't ask questions and we couldn't truly be honest with each other, learning to trust our own judgment is essential for healing and growth. And yeah, you might be wrong sometimes. Those are learning opportunities too. And believe me, there is no shortage of learning opportunities out here in this space.
I gotta say something about the way that she said that. It just, as a third generation Scientologist, it's almost like, those, and she'll talk about it later. There are certain things that are just like the paranoia and stuff. It's just sort of like diamond embedded. And the way that she said that was like a commercial actor. Like, I wonder how much TR drilling she did. Cause probably a lot. I mean, was she a PES or registrar? I'm not sure. Seems like the registrar type. All right. A. Jansen says quality over quantity. Popularity doesn't make it right. Hey, you damn right. Populism. Well, I agree with you. It might not be. It might not be like particularly the best thing on my Monday broadcast when I go look at my subscriber count and see that it's gone down, and I'm like, hell yeah. But really though, like, it's been less than 100. Even after Aaron's video interview that I did, there were almost 1,000, but not quite. But most of those viewers don't watch that shit. Don't watch my shit. So I got, an audience of 800 and whatever, but I really have an audience more like Mondays, 7 to 10. It's like a NA group or something. That's what it feels like.
One of the challenges that we face in the ex-Scientology community is that while we all tend to agree that Scientology is bad, we don't always agree on why or how or what that means. We've also all chosen our own paths after Scientology that hopefully have brought new ideas, new education, and new richness into every one of our lives. And so the ex-Scientology activism space is diverse with a lot of different ideas, backgrounds, and approaches. And that's one of the luxuries of not being in a cult, right? We all get to find what works best for us.
Hell yeah.
Protesting,
Preach.
expressing ourselves that resonate and align with us, truly, in a way that we've never gotten to do before. Because of this diversity, Not to mention some of the shared trauma and triggers that we keep running into, disagreements in our community are natural. And the way that we handle them can either strengthen or weaken.
They're natural in everything. It's natural. Law of the jungle. So, we don't have to get along, but I will reiterate something that Doug and I would often discuss is that you don't attack victims. Now, Doug had a fucking problem with this sometimes where he would privately, and he ultimately did a public broadcast. But, and I warned him against it. Do not attack the victims. We're all victims, man. And in Scientology, you often were a perpetrator too. So you victim and perpetrator. So you can definitely find things to point out what they call in Scientology out points. Yeah, Alex said the three of us had many calls about this. This is the truth. This is the truth rundown. Okay. It could. There were times where it's like, what is going on with so and so? Okay, well, someone has an opinion about it. Well, I think that they're this and that. Okay, well, fine. But, keep that negativity that isn't helping the activism out. Because this is part of the process when you leave, as I said. So you're going to go through things. Your personality might change. God, let's hope it does. Let's hope your personality changes after you leave Scientology and you redefine yourself. And in Scientology, come out of Nani with life. And that's what I'm like. That whether or not this was crafted for that, this is what I'm seeing. And this is what I saw in this video and why I wanted to do a broadcast about it, because I see some redefining going on. That's a better word and a more usable word in every day than saying I'm coming out of non-E. Yeah. The debate, this is Alex, says debate and discussion are great and helpful, ellipses. But there's a difference between that and criticizing and judging. Yeah. I mean, before, and then there's like Liz said, there are ways in which people try to disrupt what we do as activists. And Doug was a target of the activism. Someone who would be anti-activism would definitely want to target. Doug had a very powerful, strong voice, and he used his ability, much like I see Liz. She's so photogenic. She's like a commercial actor. I know that she's not. I doubt she's being paid to do this, but she's really good at emphasis and wording and delivery and all this stuff. And Doug was too, and he incorporated that acting into his broadcast. So yeah, I hope that I'm not being critical or judging, but the thing is never attack the victims, because everyone, you just never know what someone's going through or has went through. And the important thing is to be there for that person. And as she said, hold space for these people to tell their story. Otherwise, you're going to end up with less people in the community of activism and not more. And we want more. Right?
Our community as a whole. Now, I'm not here to tell you how to deal with trolls or disagreements or things that you don't like. I'm not a cult leader, and I don't plan on starting today. But we can't deny that the way that we treat each other inside this community is a reflection of how we treat each other and the world and how we've been treated. There are many people in this ex-Scientology activism community that I really respect and look up to. and there's a few that I strongly dislike. And depending on which social media you use, you can see that the feeling's mutual. But this is where our instinct
Lol.
really comes into play.
Hold on. just just for fun, you can see the feelings.
This isn't good. And I want you to be, I
Oh,
don't want anything bad to happen.
okay. So, that was her triggered, right? And without, there's no way for us to know what exactly. I don't think. Maybe there is. Maybe there's a way to know. I don't know. But there's no way for me to know what exactly triggered her to make that video. But I can, with my instincts, which is what she's talking about, I can see a redefined person here. If that thing was 2 months ago, man, she's done a lot of work really quick. And as I said earlier, and I will reiterate, I think it's important to continue therapy because she was talking about childhood development issues. If you were raised in the Sea Org or staff or public, as she was public, it's gonna give you issues for life. Adverse childhood experiences tend to do that. Not everyone that joins Scientology has really bad or traumatic adverse childhood experiences that would affect them for the rest of their life that can't be handled. I do, and a lot of people that I know in the community, I say a lot of people that I know, many people I know just from Scientology alone, even if it didn't affect their childhood, could benefit from continued therapy. So I always advocate for that, and I just want to say that. Continued therapy. Because you're always going to have these triggers. And if you have someone to talk to regularly who is a qualified licensed therapist, they can help you with that, but also it helps the whole cause of the activism in the first place, because if you're getting triggered and you are acting out, it's going to affect your status, right? Has in the past in the community. Oh no, we don't like her anymore. We don't like him anymore. We don't watch them anymore. It affects the status because your mental health is being rattled. And there's things going on behind the scenes you're not necessarily aware of. So when that happens, you need to be able to have an outlet, understand what's going on. Therapy is a great modality for that. And it really, once you get into it, it's so much more effective than Scientology. And I would even say, as a former Scientologist, that you can employ them a little bit easier because you're used to that flexibility of mind.
Life. And it's funny, I almost didn't do it. The weekend before that trip, several protesters had been arrested. And we had a big group of ex-Scientologists going down to California that weekend, and I was worried about us. I wasn't comfortable just kind of standing around causing trouble. And so I wanted to do something, bring something that I could show, highlight, participate. And it was really successful. And I was
Team Aaron SBTV, Wisdomist 21. Can you explain what that means? Are you coming here waving a flag and declaring one side over another? I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Are you declaring that one side is better than the other, or that someone is more honest than the other? Or, are there certain people, creators and YouTubers that talk about Scientology that you think are completely full of shit? Well, you're probably right, because you go through these fucking phases that rip your soul apart. So, also, yeah, what does this mean? What does Team Aaron / SPTV mean to you? Are you making a declaration that, I mean, I don't know how polarizing Liz Gale is, but You know, that video I saw, to me it was just she got fucking triggered, she got upset, she made a video, not unlike something I would have done in 2015 to 2017. Okay, thank you for clearing that up, Wisdomus. I always try. I didn't mean to come at you at the throat like that, but I am vigilant in in the chat. And Brian, thank you. We're all full of shit here. Yeah, nobody knows much of nothing. We're all just fumbling in the dark. Continuing on here, and I'll go back and see what that was related to. I didn't know if you were making some kind of declaration. Just curious.
I was really proud of it. And it opened the door for me to realize where I want to take my activism going forward. Well, first of all, I'm excited to announce that this fall I will be coming out with the second book in my Confessions.
I'm gonna jump in here, Betsy. Brian was just making a joke. I see what your comment was about. Yeah, she was associated. I guess. Oh, she was. Yeah, because she went down to Clearwater and visited Aaron, right? So, and there was like Instagram reels of her on a boat and whatever. I saw some of that. One of the things that I'm good at, that my therapist and my psychiatrist tell me that I'm like, pro, is disassociation. And I'm able to disassociate from all of this stuff. So, it still goes back to don't blame the victims, She may have went down, whatever her reasons were that she went down to Clearwater, I don't care. She was a victim of Scientology. Aaron's a victim of Scientology. There are things that people who go through similar experiences, just being around them and talking is a form of therapy. It's talk therapy. So, who knows? But, yeah, if she was formerly sort of like associating with Aaron Smith Levin, if you can sort of glean some of the information that I gave you about, what the terms were, and they weren't written down. I didn't write a contract to do that interview, and I didn't want to be paid, and I didn't want it to be monetized. I wanted the information to just be free out on his channel with all the viewers, and I didn't want the video itself to be monetized. I'm dropping a lot of kbps right now. I don't know why. That is interesting. Okay, it jumped back up to 5,000. Now 4,000. 3,000 kbps. That's odd. If the broadcast drops, I don't know what that's about, but 6K BPS is usually what I stream at, broadcast. And it looks like it's stabilizing. I didn't want to, well, maybe not. Let's continue. And I agree with someone said, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see, I think that this is all very positive. And I'll draw you something in a minute that'll explain how I think about, or that'll show how I think about the activism in the community and all that stuff, and where I fit into all of this stuff.
Of an Ex-Scientologist series. Confessions of an Ex-Scientologist Mom. The working tagline now is diapers, Dianetics, and disaster. Tell me what you think of that in the comments, please, because I can still change it, but I kind of love it. And in the same light as my first book, I hope to take my conversational tone, humor, entertainment, and sneak in some really powerful lessons about child development and Scientology's effect on child development into this next book. In fact,
that
on this
is
channel,
going to be some heavy shit. I would not expect her to have this book ready next week. If she's fired up and is in therapy and can, source some material from her therapist, Uh, that stuff is so heartbreaking because there's, you know, not everyone knows that there are these specific things you can do to people that will condition them, or specific things that you don't do that will condition them. And as a child, if someone knowingly does or does not do these things and in order to condition the child in a specific way, it's a very special kind of fucked up. So this book that she's working on now could very well be a tearjerker.
Coming up, you might see some writing content. It would actually be really fun to start a writing group. If anybody else is interested in that, definitely let me know. Now might be a good time to pop my email down here on the page, rusticandresourceful@gmail.com. I know it's random, but I have a little hobby blog called rusticandresourceful.com that I've had for a million years, and just kind of who I am. As you might notice, my new background here, I am in a tiny little storage room off of our pump house.
You see what I mean about the
And I'm
commercial
turning
actor?
this into my tiny little micro art studio. You'll see me with some content from here, but more than that, I'm going to be able to put up my red string project boards